Hey friends, my name is Antoinette Chanel. If you're new to my channel, welcome in. Thanks for being here. If you've been here before, welcome back. I really appreciate you. Today I am just coming to you with some unscripted thoughts today. I have my notebook handy, so I won't ramble, but I wanted to make a video and just get it out. So that's why I'm not doing a whole bunch of production stuff with this one right now. Today is Thursday, January 8th, and if you don't know already, there was a citizen in Minneapolis, who was shot and killed by ICE agents yesterday. And ICE, for those who are not aware, is Immigration's Customs Enforcement, something like that. I know I've said that America is in its flop era before in certain shorts and other videos that I've done before, but yesterday's events really do set a precedent for where we are in the United States. We are quickly devolving into chaos, and I am of the belief that the United States is going to be fighting in World War III while simultaneously fighting a civil war here at home. If you don't know about my background, I will fill you in very quickly. So I have a degree in English. I got my bachelor's degree in English while I was attending school for my bachelor's degree. I also wrote for my university's newspaper. So I have a background in journalism, which includes knowing how to interview people connected to a story, how to ask questions, how to report on events as they happen. And my biggest claim to fame, if you want to call it that, is this story that I broke here on sexual battery that happened at University Village while I was attending the university. I was working part-time in the writing center of the university when I overheard two girls in the waiting area discussing an R word that had occurred the night before at a party. So I decided to follow up, and that story and that whole transaction between myself and the university's police department actually created a liaison relationship between the paper and the police department that I held until I graduated in May 2006, almost 20 years ago. But I've covered all sorts of news stories. I had a very tough editor when I wrote for the paper. So, I have learned the hard way what it means to report, what it means to share information, and what it means to, what the truth means, how truth is defined. And so with that being said, I want to share 3 behaviors or habits that you will want to pick up right now. If you're not already practicing them, you will want to teach them to children and young people in your lives, because it's important that information be shared properly right now and that people practice discernment. Number 1 is media literacy. If you don't know what that term means, that's okay. It's never too late to become someone who is media literate. Basically, media literacy is having the discernment to know that looking at just one news source, one news story is not enough to determine the facts of what is actually happening in a current event. You should evaluate multiple sources, and my suggestion is that we get away from televised video type news and stick to news that we can read. Personally, I think that looking at sources that are international, ones that are outside of the US and therefore don't have as much of a biased stake in how the story is received, is a better way to go about getting correct information about current events. And some of the publications that I enjoy, I like Hindustan Times. I also like Al Jazeera. They have a print publication. They also have a news site that does videos. I believe they also have a channel here on YouTube. Wion, W-I-O-N, is also a very good source for video news. If you really don't want to read anything, video news from Wion tends to be very reliable. They are outside of the United States, therefore they don't have a stake in how a story makes a certain person or entity look. And then also Sky News, which I think Sky News is also primarily video, but because they're outside of the United States, they tend to be more trustworthy when reporting on current events happening here. Number two, it's important that everyone take care of themselves right now. And I know that that probably sounds so ridiculous because the world is literally on fire around us. This is fine, everything's fine. But the thing is, you are more prone to being emotional. You are more prone to believing half-truths or manipulated truths or just straight up lies. Let's just call it what it is. If you are not well rested, if you are not well nourished, if you are dehydrated, just drinking water actually helps to improve brain function. So make sure that you're getting I like to drink at least 100 ounces a day personally. Some people go by the half your weight in ounces. Whatever it is, make sure you're staying hydrated. If you're going to the bathroom and your pee is dark, that means you're not drinking enough water. If you're going to the bathroom and your pee is pale, that's good. It's also important to eat well. And again, I know that that sounds ridiculous, especially with the way that our own government is interfering in families' ability to put food on the table actively right now. But it's still important that you are eating vegetables along with protein. I know that it can feel like, I just want to grab all of the comfort foods and eat those. And I'm not here to judge anybody for that, but just make sure that you're getting some leafy greens. Make sure that you are not overloading on sugar because that'll make you crash later. Don't load up too much on carbs. Try to get exercise if you can, even just going for a walk. But staying healthy right now will also help you to stay alert, and it'll help with that media literacy that we all must practice right now. It's a non-negotiable. And then the third and final thing that I suggest is that we have to insist on the truth right now. I'm 41 years old, so that means that I was 17 when 9/11 happened. And I remember what we heard on the news as it was happening because I actually watched the towers collapse when I was in class. I was in math class, and some of my friends still remember that day. I mean, we'll never forget that day, of course, but there are people here on the internet who were there with me. I remember what we were told. I remember what we saw. I remember what we were hearing. And I remember what we never heard or saw or were told again after September 11th, 2001. And what's unfortunate is that we didn't have DVR technology the way that we do now. We didn't have the ability to clip things and, post it to the internet for wide consumption back then. So it was a little harder to contradict the record out loud back in 2001 about what was really happening. Some examples that I can point to about this are the names Kenny Johanneman and, hold on, let me look him up. He's the one who was in World Trade Center 7. Barry Jennings. Look up those two names to see that they gave eyewitness accounts about what they heard and saw on the day of September 11th, 2001. And mysteriously, both of those men are no longer with us. And those accounts of what they gave, those have been mostly silenced. I mean, you can still find clips of them here on the internet. They're here on YouTube, but it's very hard to bring that stuff out into the open. But sticking to the facts, it's very important that we get some things very clear, that we contradict anybody who is trying to entertain a narrative that is different from this. So first of all, Renee Nicole Good wasn't trying to run over police officers. There are multiple angles of the video that show what happened when she and the ICE officers clashed. You can see her driving away from the officers, and at one point you can see an officer trying to pull her from her car by grabbing her door handle. Those are the facts. And since we're on the subject of truth, let's go ahead and get the truth out there about Venezuela, because Trump didn't have any right to go in there and remove Maduro and now come in and say that he's running things. Our laws here in the United States don't apply to anybody else but the United States, and Venezuela is not part of the United States. Unfortunately, this current administration is very aware of how you can harness the attention of the population through extremism, through rage bait type stuff. And they also knew how to cover their bases because they got media on their side. I mean, I've covered this in previous videos about the mergers and acquisitions that have happened in legacy media lately that consolidates everything under just a few conservative voices. But we've got to normalize looking at issues with our education system, with our healthcare system, with clean water, with crime as human issues. I hate the way that this has been turned into some sort of weird football game pep rally where, oh, well, I'm against your side, so therefore I just hate whatever your side is saying. What side? Are you on the side of humans being able to live, or are you on the side of humans suffering and being tortured? Because that's really what it comes down to. When you see things like medical insurance premiums going up by 500% for some people, when you see the government restricting food benefits for people, just because. At the end of the day, we all have to eat, we all have to drink water, we all have to live here. I mean, I know that's a choice. We can get up out of here anytime we want to, but I mean, it's not like you can just get in a car and drive away, drive over the ocean. And as much as there are people who I can't stand right now, we can't just pick one group and decide that they're going to go without. People's karma is going to catch up with them, no doubt. Don't doubt that. It will. It always does. But we can't sit here and segregate ourselves again. I feel like that's exactly what they wanted. That's exactly what we've been doing for the last decade. And now we are so divided that we can't even come together to overthrow these motherfuckers. And they know that. We don't have to like each other, but making food insecurity into a political issue is stupid. And I just hope that collectively we are able to hold accountable everyone in this administration who has aided in the chaos that we are having to live through right now. Those are my thoughts.